Michael Timberlake from our friends over at Timberlake League and Brooks joining us. Always good to have you with us. While we wait for that first,
it's Monday. It's always good to be here.
Well, we wait for that first call, though. So our topic we want to talk about today is this season with so many concerts and outings. What do you do if you get hurt at one of those events?
Right. So we got, South Star's coming up, huge music festival coming to town in Huntsville. And so just in general, what you need to know about this is that, a concert promoter, has got an obligation to provide reasonable safety for the crowd that it's expecting. So, if you got 100,000, people coming, then they have to have security personnel, medical personnel to try to take care of a crowd like that. But they're not required to basically eliminate the possibility of any kind of injury on the premises. They have to do what's reasonable. So when you think about concerts, especially festivals, you think about people engaging in dancing, mosh pitting, things like that. Those are things that obviously the concert promoter doesn't want to see because it puts them at risk for problems. But if people engage in that activity and they assume the risk of type of injury, then the concert promoter may not be ultimately liable for that. They do have to provide, reasonable accommodations for the facilities to eliminate any, dangers that they know about or that they could know about, should know about, and that includes, just the possibility of having to deal with that many people. But if you're going out to the festival, have a good time, but make sure you understand they don't have an absolute obligation to protect you under all circumstances at the event.
We do stand ready to answer your legal questions. Again, you can call us 256-537-0077.
Right. That's it.
While we wait for another call, though, what about just the grounds in general of the venue, the parking lot?
Sure.
There's so many things when you got that many people moving about that can happen even in a parking lot. Where does the liability fall? The promoter, the venue itself, on the individual? Yeah.
So, in this situation, it's a city venue. So the city of Huntsville is going to have some liability in terms of the parking at Joe Davis Stadium, making sure that's in a reasonably safe condition. City does have a liability cap of $100,000. So they're protected in some way by statute in case of injuries, and they have to know about the problem, essentially know about it or should have known about a problem before it happens in order to make the city liable. Inside the venue, that's the promoter would have a responsibility, or the vendors would have a responsibility for their individual setup, and then in just general security, that would be on the promoter as well. The interesting thing is the venue's not responsible, and the city would not be responsible for criminal conduct of a third party.
Gotcha.
So somebody gets robbed in a parking lot, somebody gets mugged in the parking lot, something untoward happens during the festival, then that is criminal conduct of a third party, and that may not be responsible.
We have a caller.
Okay, great.
Gloria, are you on the line? Gloria?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Pardon?
Go ahead with your question.
Oh, okay. I have a question about the people next door who smoke in their family room, which is right across from my air conditioning vent, and it blows. They open their window and blow it into my air conditioning vent, and it comes into my home, and it's making me sick. It makes me cough profusely sometimes, according to how much they smoke, and sometimes they smoke around 10 to 11 o'clock at night. And I called the police once, and they said there wasn't anything they could do about it because it wasn't a matter that they could handle. But they did go over and speak to the people. Sometimes they don't do it, but most of the times they do. What is there that can be done about it?
The law sometimes doesn't provide a remedy for every wrong. And this is more of a matter of just common decency to other people than it would be some kind of legal problem. What you would look at is if you could be determined to be a nuisance on their property that affects your property, then you could potentially enjoin them from doing it. But that's going to cost you, and it'd be hard to enforce that prohibition. If they've got a landlord, I would contact the landlord and tell them that they're not being good neighbors, and see if that has any impact. But otherwise, your remedy would be to try to do something with the ventilation into your home so that's not directly adjacent to theirs. And I know that's not the answer you want, but unfortunately, that's other than spending a considerable amount of money on legal fees that may not have any impact, that's you're kind of stuck.
All right, tough question there for sure.
Yeah,
Not always an
absolutely.
easy remedy.
Right.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, if you didn't get your question answered today, always call us back. Every Monday, we have Law Call right here on Way 31 News Midday. You can also call our friends over at Timberlake, League and Brooks directly and ask your question there.